All right, so we are live on Facebook as well. So everybody who is joining, we are here for a second time today with Haim, who is from Israel, and he's a head of growth of Fronter. Haim, how are you today?
Great. We have a vacation here, so yeah.
Oh, really? So I hope that we are not taking way too much of your time you would be normally spending with your family.
Yes, that's a pain point, but you know, this time I let it fly.
Yeah. All right. So basically, what we will be discussing today. Oh, my name is Jakub. I'll be hosting this this webinar, and today we are discussing quite interesting topic. And this topic is called the hairy hand principle. I would show you my hand, but my hand isn't so hairy. So we will need to just stay with today's topic. And this topic is about how to reduce unprofessional clients' feedback. So you can start focusing more on your work and delivering the results on time. So for example, if you're running agency, of course, you know the story is that your clients think that they know sometimes better than you. So they will be telling you things like, hey, you should do this, you should do that. And sometimes it's not the right thing to do. So we'll be talking about how to reduce this. A simple trick you can use immediately after these webinars. It's so actionable. So I think we can start.
Yeah. So
all right. So what is the hairy hand principle, Haim? Can you explain it to us?
The hairy hand principle is actually a story, a type of anecdote I ran into a few years ago. I read about a photographer that had a special technique in which he used to pitch his photographs. He used to work with a lot of branding materials with large corporates, and he a lot of time talks to CEOs, and you know, when they have their say about this and that, and you know what, this doesn't look quite right, and really entering their own personal taste, which, as we all know, taste and gut feelings are horrible in marketing, and you should test everything. But usually, if you do something a lot of times, you get the kind of feel, you know, to at least launch it. So this photographer accidentally one time had a hairy hand inside his picture, like it was blocking a part of the picture, and you know, the rest of the picture was here, and you know, the CEO would say, what the hell? You have a hairy hand in that picture, you know, that's horrible. The photographer immediately apologized about that, but what he noticed is that after that hairy hand incident, the CEO had way less remarks about the photo shoot. So he said, well, let's test this one. Maybe it's a thing. So every time we used to meet with a company, he used to enter a hairy hand, a hairy finger. He probably had more hair than me and Jacob combined. I don't know, maybe that's why. And it worked. Yeah.
And it works. Yeah. So Haim, that's quite interesting anecdote. And for people who are joining on Facebook, today we are discussing the hairy hand principle. And I'm gonna tell you a story which happened to me actually when I was working on some freelancing projects for clients from Switzerland and so on. And it was quite interesting because what we did is that we are designing some visual identity for them. They had like very basic visual identity, and they asked us, hey, can you design a visual identity for us? And we said yes. I got together graphic designers and so on. And of course, when you like send them the first version of the graphic design, they usually have some revisions, something they don't like, something they would make smaller, bigger, and so on. So what happened is that we end up in the vicious email thread cycles where everybody was sending revisions back, revisions forward, and we were just talking about, hey, this is better, and the client was saying other thing. And what are you describing is actually quite clever, and it's quite smart that you make like huge mistake, which is really visible on the first look, with the first interaction with the client. So you will show him this logo, and the logo is horrible. Like the first interaction with the logo is horrible. And then the client will say, hey, this looks horrible, this doesn't look good. So what you will do, you will just change it to make it look like a final logo you actually want to provide to this client. And client feels happy because he feels that he made the part in the whole deciding process and so on. And you're happy as well because you're providing the logo you wanted to provide in the first place, and you are able to do it on time, which is huge in design space. Is that right?
Yep. And you know, design is the obvious example of how the hairy hand principle works. But you know, you can apply it in different fields, and we saw it work, for instance, in one email out of a sequence. You know, the first email or the second email is somehow, you know, you have a wrong title there or something like that. You know, just enter an obvious mistake into the work you're doing, something that can be traced immediately, and it's there. You know, the client will give his comment. They have like a load to unload. They want to be a part of the doing. We see it a lot as agencies. Everyone watching this probably agrees. The client needs to say something about your work. They are paying money. They need to express themselves. You know, we all have also this innate need to express ourselves while we are paying money for something. So give them that stage and the honor, and whoa, you did a great job. You caught that on time, and you know, here is how we fix it, and you know, just progress. The more feedback you have on a project, the more the project gets delayed, and the client becomes less and less satisfied. And client satisfaction, you know, it's a prerequisite to everything that happens in the future in terms of agency and how it progresses with the journey of the client. So
I see.
Yeah.
Haim, you're actually you're working in your own agency, which is called Press on It. Can you tell me how exactly you are using the hairy hand principle in your agency?
Well, I could say, but then I would be revealing trade secrets. Yeah, but an example we had a few years ago is we had a client that had strong opinions about how a certain website should look, okay? So think about dark mode, light mode, okay? Dark mode, there are a lot of advantages to it, but let's be blunt about it. It's a horrible idea unless you're dealing with luxury or something like that. And by introducing, okay, a light mode, but a lighter dark mode to the design, we were able to convince him that that's the wrong idea to go for. Imagine it would be darker, okay? That's how we use the hairy principle. There are several other examples, sorry, that I can think of. Nothing comes into mind at the moment, but yeah, we had an email sequence a few days ago with a client that insisted work on a certain type of persona and voice. And you know, you need, when you pitch an email sequence, you need very fast show the client what's the right persona for the sequence, even if he doesn't disagree. And many of our clients, they know their personas and they are closed. Yes, we know what our clients think and what they need, and you need to prove them otherwise. You do that by just guiding them and, okay, this was wrong, okay, do you have an option? And of course, you need to give immediately, pretty fast, the version that they like. This way, you look good, they do not look bad, and everyone is happy, and you're progressing.
I see. So basically, if you want to leverage hairy hand principle in practice, you should be ready with the best solution immediately. Not that you will present like the bad solution, quote unquote bad solution, just as a hairy hand, but you should have your ready solution actually prepared for the presentation right after the bad one, right?
Exactly. As the story continued, the photographer said that after a while he used to take a version of the image with the hand and the version with the image without the hand. Oh, sorry, I will find the image without the hand, and voila. Yep, that's the idea.
That's interesting. So I see more people are joining on Facebook. So in short, hairy hand principle, if you're working with clients and maybe clients sometimes feel that they're smarter than you can use this simple trick that you will present like the horrible version first. Why hairy hand principle? It's from the photographer who was presenting pictures, and in one of the pictures was his hand, which was really hairy, and client of course said, "Hey, can you remove this hand? This doesn't look good." And
it's an ugly hand on my walk. Yeah.
Exactly. And he removed it, and client was happy because he was part of the decision process, and everyone was happy. It was faster, and it was solved almost immediately. And the good part is that you can do it pretty much in any space if you're working with clients. It's not only visual, such as photographs and so on, and websites, but as Haim mentioned, you can do it also with for example, copywriting. Right? Because I was doing copywriting when I was starting online marketing. And sometimes, yes, clients are not happy for the first time with the copywriting you create. So they feel that they need to like talk to it. So you can use the same principle in copywriting as well. Haim, can you please explain a little bit more? How would you use this in copywriting space when you work with clients?
Okay. In copywriting, when you define personas, you need to most products have several personas, and you need to find the tone, you need to find the voice of the persona that in which you approach the persona, okay, which means the tones and the voice of the brand, and you need to quickly iterate between them, meaning you need to match the right message to the right type of persona. Now, if the client comes with a solid idea of how you should talk to his personas, target personas, and how his target personas will react, your job becomes really, really difficult. And the way to reduce this, let's say, client interactions, this back and forward, that might know my persona sounds like that, and you wrote this and that. You need really to listen to the client, to personify his persona, and then offer a better version right after that. You know what? This is how the persona that you decided should appear. I have a better version for it. Now, applying the hairy hand in terms of content, maybe you should enter a phrase or a title that doesn't match or doesn't sit right on a certain persona. Okay, for instance, that's basically it. Right now, I would love to go into details in other fields, but I need to really think about it because that's a specific example that I have.
Of course. So, okay, I hope that everybody understands the hairy hand principle now, but we will cover it in this webinar once again, maybe in other use cases. If you have any use cases you would like to discuss the hairy hand principle on, please make sure you will let us know in the comments, either on Zoom or if you're watching on Facebook, let us know on the Facebook, and we can talk about the hairy hand principle for your specific use case if you work with clients. That might be really useful. Now, Haim, I have another question, not about hairy hand principle, but people will be seeing you in the upcoming days with webinars with PitchGround. And you are working with Fronter, which is a product we just launched on PitchGround yesterday. and you work there as a head of growth. Is it right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So explain me, like, tell me what it's like to like work at Fronter. What do you do there exactly? Because head of growth can mean like multiple things. So please.
Head of growth does a lot of tests. These tests include design, messaging, ads, banners, email sequences, ways to onboard users, etc. There are multiple touch points. In my job description, you might say that I touch every aspect of the product, from defining features and if they are the correct features to come in a certain stage in the roadmap, or deciding if there is a priority to focus on certain keywords in an AdWords campaign over others because the budget is fixed and we need to reduce it to what. There are so many. We have like a huge Excel of tests and events that we track and we identify and try to improve over time. That's basically the job that we do with growth. We identified we had a good. We think that we have a good market product fit. We found the channels that the channel product fit as well. And now we are just solidifying our hold and on each and every channel and improving just retention, acquisition, and revenue over time. That's what we do. That's what we do in growth.
I see. And you started working with Fronter as a consultant, right? You weren't hired as a employee, or am I correct?
A few months ago, we partnered with them. We are not employees exactly. I wouldn't say.
Or partnerships. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. I know the guys for many years now, 5 years almost. We went through a few SaaS products. We even won a prize on Product Hunt ago. That's how I know them. Yeah.
What product was that you won the prize with?
Oh, it was called Ghost for Chat. Ghost for Chat. It was a productivity app for Facebook users. You could disappear from the Facebook chat while browsing Facebook, and you could also filter all types of results depending on keywords, basically making you, while you are using Facebook, more productive. For instance, at the time, there was a huge buzz about how Game of Thrones is destroying everyone's productivity, and you just need to remove that thing from Facebook and focus on the things that really matter, which was kittens videos, probably. Yeah.
All right. And when you start working with Fronter, have you ever used a hairy hand principle with them?
With Fronter?
Yeah.
Once you have a good relationship that is based on trust, and it doesn't happen at the beginning. No client trusts you completely at the beginning. You need to earn their trust. You need to earn their friendship over time. You need to earn everything you do needs to earn that. Okay, and these guys are working with us because they trust us, and we have proven ourselves. I think times in the past. I hope that they will back me up in the comments.
Yeah, I bet they will. So why did you actually want to work on the Fronter with them? Is it because you had a previous good relationship working on other products, actually award-winning products with them, or is it only because you love the idea and the whole concept behind Fronter so much that you just couldn't help yourself to start working on it?
That's a good question. Many times we get partnership requests from clients or would-be clients because they somehow want to save on their marketing expenses, and they push the risk to the future. By partnering with a marketing agency, you just push the risk. Okay, I'll pay you once I'll get the percent in. That's not the way we work. And the reason we did work with them because they came to us, they said they had this awesome idea. The minute they started to talk about it, we like had demons behind our eyes and, oh, that's an amazing idea. Let's go for it. You know, if a product is not amazing, we never partner with it. You know, it needs to be a damn good product. And sure, the fact that they are, after 5 years, you become someone's friend if you work with them. And the fact that they are our friends, it definitely helps in our relationship, in our daily dealings, and also in terms of productivity. Yeah.
It's so interesting what you said, that it's actually bringing a risk or dividing the risk with another partner company. And I see that a lot of young startups do it, especially in the tech space, when they don't have developers, that they basically reach out to development company and say, hey, we have this amazing idea, we have all this marketing ready, but we don't have developers, and we are offering you to give you some share of the company, some portion of the company. And usually it's more risk for the development company than for a startup. Yes. But I see that you actually did your homework and that you analyzed Fronter, and that it's a way to go. So
that's the thing. You need to know the team that you are going to work with. We start our relationship as a client agency, and the first product we worked on, that was the relationship. And the more we worked together, the more it became obvious that we have such an amazing chemistry that we definitely need to do things together. Now, when new products and new projects come along, and always over the years, you have new projects and new opportunities with the clients you share, especially if they like the way you work, especially if you're getting the bottom line. You know, you need to put the bread on the table, or else you're a nice guy. That's all you get. And so, yeah.
I think it's good to start relationships like this with working on something together, and it's been actually like a paid job. That you start your relationship, that you're maybe hiring the agency or something, and you build like that friendship from the professionalism, that you start as like normal client and agency relationship, and then eventually you start escalating it into normal like friendship, and then you can actually start building the products. Why I think it's better? Well, because it shows that you're dedicated to the product, and that you are actually willing to pay for solutions, and it shows how good is the other party with delivering and so on. So I think it's a great approach. And we have a comment from Lorgan, and Lorgan is saying, "Good day. I'm in visual design and marketing, and this principle is very relevant to me. And I wonder how I haven't encountered this before. Thanks." Thanks a lot, Lorgan.
Well, I don't know why you haven't encountered it before. Maybe no one wrote about it before, as it was not widespread. As I bumped into an article, a few years back. I'm into marketing with my wife for like 10 to 15 years already. So it comes with the territory, I'm guessing. So while you develop all sorts of psychological hacks, let's call them.
Yeah. So for people who are joining new, we are talking about the hairy hand principle, which is relevant to you when you work in marketing or when you work in some sort of visual industry, such as web design, visual identity, brand creation, branding, and so on. What was that?
Even if in development, if you have an obvious bug, for instance, in a otherwise flawless website. Yeah.
So let me once again describe the hairy hand principle for people who are joining. It works basically like this, and pay attention because you can apply it almost immediately if you're like dealing with clients. So with clients, you have some deliverables. You have something that you need to show him to show that, hey, I did the work. And sometimes clients are actually do want to share their feedback, even though it's not very professional. So especially if you're, for example, designing logo, client will say, hey, can you make the space a little bit bigger, or can you make the symbol a little bit bigger? And you have so many hours in the logo creation already, and you know that this is the best version that it can be. So the way you can do it and sell actually the best version you created is to use hairy hand principle. Now, what you have to do is come up with a logo or some element in the logo which is just horrible. It just doesn't look good in any way, and you will show this horrible version to a client like the first version, not the good one, but the bad one. And Haim, why do you think it works?
Because when a client is able to give his, his 2 cents about something, and it's an obvious win, and it's an immediate win, and yes, I'm definitely right on this one. So, you need to give him honors when honors due. Yes, you are totally right. Maybe this version is better. You just show them an obvious mistake, they catch that mistake because they need to unload. And once they unload, it's easier to work with them because they become suddenly the savvy professional that they deem themselves. Everyone sees himself as, I own this, I pay for this, this is mine. I hire you as a designer to implement my will, basically. And as the owner, you need to give him the credit he's due, and you do it by allowing him to comment in a way that is not disruptive to your workflow. That's how you do it.
Yeah, and I would like to point out that it's important to show the best version you created immediately after the bad version you shown the first time. Because as Haim said, client will feel involved more in the process, and he will say, hey, this was sort of my idea to create this. And I know that maybe for some of you, it might feel like a manipulation with the client. But I mean, sales is basically helping the clients make the good decisions, even though they don't think it's maybe the best one because they're maybe not aware of the industry or something. So it's a win-win really for both of you. Why? Because you're able to deliver high quality results, like according to you, the best quality you can deliver, and you can deliver it on time and not get lost in these email revisions and threats like that you like changing a logo multiple times. So if you're in the visual industry, if you're in marketing industry, web development, apps, this is something you can use. And if you have any questions about it, feel free to reach out to Haim or me. And Morgan, okay, go on.
Another point that I want to support what you said, when you're doing something for the client, he says, oh, that's my website. Oh, that's my app. Oh, I did this. I did that. Everyone has his place. This is the client's website. This is the client's logo. This is the code for the app of the client or the emails the client is sending. You are the service provider. He will never say, well, Haim did that for me or Jakub did that for me. No, it's his. Okay. Mm-hmm. But once he will bump into that situation in which he would say, can you give me the name of the guy who made the website for you? Or can you make the same website for him? He will recommend the guy or girl or whatever that made that for him. And, it will just be that wonderful chain of you are perceived as the person that creates, that he can trust. And we talked previously about trust and how it works between clients and service providers, and it's magical, basically. Yeah.
Lorgan is saying one of the techniques I do, it was taught to me for design presentations, is that I show my worst version first, and then my favorite ones at the bottom or last, which is quite similar, right? It's a little twist on the technique.
Yeah, it's definitely it reminds me that in pricing page, you show the biggest, most expensive package on the left. You show the middle package on the middle, and the least expensive package on the right. Why? Because the eye goes like a Z sign, right? So you first see the package that is bigger, and from that, oh, this package is smaller, I can probably afford this. It's not, it's some sort of a psychological effect. I'm not sure how it's called, something about the deteriorating value, something like that. I will find out.
Yeah, sometimes even restaurants use this, that they will start with the most expensive item on their menu. So I don't know, some ribeye steak for $30 or $40. And then you're like, oh, this is expensive. And then you will just keep reading, and you will eventually find the food you like for the price, which is maybe a little bit higher than you would normally pay. But since you're still comparing it with the first version, it seems like a no-brainer deal then.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, I have one last question about design in general. And then I think it's slowly time to wrap this up, and I will show people where they can register for other webinars, which will be already with slides, and we'll be showing some specific examples. But before that, I would like to ask you, if you were presenting some versions of deliverables to clients, let's say logos again, because that's something everybody can imagine. Do you come up with multiple versions, not counting the hairy hand principle, but do you create like 2 or 3 versions and you let the client decide? Or do you create the best version according to you, and you are just going to sell this one?
All right, let's take a logo as an example, although it can be applied on anything. You have a logo with 3 circles, okay? If you apply the hairy logo principle on the 3 circles, one of the circles will be bigger, or not not a complete circle, or an elliptic version of the other circles. That it will not sit good with the client, because he will say, oh, there is no symmetry here, or something doesn't sit right. And then you present the next logo in line pretty quickly, which is 3 circles, okay? The 3 circles are symmetrical, they are the same color, you know, but the client immediately is able to see how this design is better than the previous one. So you undersell the first design, and then you start to sell the second design. Yes, you were right. I also think that the elliptic one did not work in this situation, and we definitely should progress with the 3 circles. You are reducing feedback loops because if you are sending multiple logos to the client, you know, the client is either going through an analysis paralysis and shooting everywhere, you know, I don't know, this might be round, this should stand on the head, you know, they can drag you, and you have several back and forwards, and you know, if you had the deadline, it's gone, okay? You will not reach any deadlines, especially if you have if logo is the first step in the project. And I saw logo projects that went like for a month or 2, you know, just going back and forth. It was ridiculous. So limit the decision making. Tell them that you will give them 3 options, but deliver them one after the other, not in the same time. Again, let data prove me or you wrong while you're doing this. Meaning, if you see that you are sending and the clients disapprove of the way you are sending, find a way to do it better. You know, what I'm saying might be not 100% on all cases. You'll have always, and that's a growth approach. Test everything you do. That's it.
And I think this is an amazing sentence to wrap this topic up. Test everything you do, not only in the visual industry, but pretty much everywhere. I know that a lot of people from our community are in the marketing industry. So I think you're pretty familiar with that. Just test everything, measure everything. What you cannot measure is pretty much nonsense in that case. If you don't know if the activity you're doing is producing results you want, well, you don't have to do it at all. So that's pretty much it. So let me share my screen really quickly, because this was our actually second webinar from our webinar sequence series. Yesterday, it was a launch webinar with Lokman, where we covered everything about Fronter. And today we talked about hairy hand principle, which is like simple to use trick you can use almost immediately in your interactions with clients. Tomorrow we are talking about the hard drive principle and how to plan your projects and create precise estimates. Now the time is half hour before, so we'll be starting at 2 p.m. GMT +2. So if you live in the Central European, and this is time for you, anyway, you can join on this link, and it will update you in your calendar exactly based on your time zone. Now, then we are talking about the right soft skills to maintain a healthy relationship with your clients on October 18th. And then there's the last webinar, how to get more clients by leveraging recommendations and referrals. So if you want more clients, recommending you to more clients, well, this webinar is for you. And of course, you can check Fronter if you work on design projects, or if you are delivering content to your clients. Maybe you're a content marketing agency. Fronter is a tool you should go for, because it helps you to really minimize the feedback loops. You won't be needing any email. Clients don't have to register, and they can basically see immediately what you came up with, and they can comment on any visual element. There's pretty much everything you need to know on the pitchground.com/products/Fronter, and first license starts at $49 lifetime. So you don't have to pay monthly or annually. You'll just pay once, and that's it. So what is that, Haim?
It's a steal.
It is
go
a steal.
And buy it. Go.
I mean, you are. What is the price you're normally selling Fronter for monthly?
Oh, you got me. I don't remember off of my head, but in this price, like, it's a steal, man.
It is a steal, and especially like with the roadmap they're preparing, like you will get all the updates in the future. Of course, unlimited access to all features and updates. And the last plan, they're basically different in the number of users. And the last plan includes white labeling. So it means that if you run a bigger agency and you don't want your clients to see that you're using Fronter, you can just remove the Fronter logo, which is here, powered by Fronter, and include your own logo. So it will see like that it's only yours.
Yeah, it will look like an agency tool. You're basically doing an amazing thing inside your agency. That tells the client a lot about you.
Yep, exactly. So guys, once again, pitchground.com/products/Fronter. Take a look on it. If you like it, just click the buy now button. If you have any problems, you can reach out to us anytime on support, or just using direct message to me or any other team member, and we will get back to you. And if you are interested about more client management hacks, register on Fronter.pitchground.com for more webinars. The landing page should look like this. Simple to use strategies to manage your project smoothly and get paid on time. So just go here, Fronter.pitchground.com. You can find the link in the description of this live video, and just fill in your email here, and you will get notifications when we go live again. So that's about it now, Haim. Thanks a lot. This was interesting.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so we will see each other tomorrow, half an hour earlier than today.
Yes.
Definitely. All right, thanks everybody for joining, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.